Well, I'm standing next to the Coldwater River in Merritt, British Columbia, and the reason I'm here is related to flooding. Looking at this river right now, you wouldn't believe the power that water has, and you wouldn't believe that this river has the capability of doing destructive damage. But back in November 2021, British Columbia suffered what is commonly called an atmospheric river event, and that is just a series of moisture-laden air masses moving in off the Pacific on shore and then moving inland. And over a period of several days in mid-November, this atmospheric river event delivered amounts of rainfall that British Columbia had almost never experienced before. Turning this little placid river into really a raging torrent. So if I pan around a little bit to my left here, you can see the river bed, or the area of the river that floods all the way to the forested area over here. So this river would have been completely full in November 2021, and what you can also see on the far bank is efforts by the municipality of British Columbia and the BC provincial government to basically line this river with armor stone. And it's not really attempting to prevent flooding, but it's an attempt to prevent riverbank erosion and channel migration, which is a bit of a problem when you have a city built next to a river. If I can turn around here, you can also see the power of this flood event through this bridge. This is the Middleborough Bridge, which was destroyed in November 2021. So essentially what happened is the river overfilled its banks and began eroding the bridge abutment on this side, right here. What you see at the top of this hill is basically where the bridge would have ended. The bridge abutment was eroded and eventually collapsed, and that's now been, the bridge span has been removed. It landed in the river, and what's left is just the opposite bank, the bridge on the opposite bank. So again, we see armor stone being deposited here in an attempt to stabilize the river channel. And longer term, the strategy for post-disaster recovery is to rebuild this bridge. The municipality has already received an almost $10 million grant to rebuild the bridge to a higher standard. And here we start thinking about climate change. If the municipality simply rebuilt this bridge to the same standard that it was before 2021, this bridge would be susceptible to future flood events similar to 2021. So, this is a chance to build back better. And the plan is to build a slightly higher bridge to a higher standard, and basically to widen the channel and compensate for future flood events, and basically allow the river to flood, to fill its bank full capacity, and not compromise the bridge. There's a lot more being planned for the city of Merritt BC, and part of that includes raising dike levels, levee levels to protect the remaining residents, and possibly, now this is a big if, big question mark, possibly buying out some of the homeowners that are currently living in the floodplain or suffered damages in 2021 and are maybe temporarily displaced to this day. So that's an open question, and it's very expensive to buy out homeowners where the average home price in Merritt, British Columbia is I had a look at real estate listings recently, and I couldn't find a single family home below $300,000, and many were upwards of $800,000 to $900,000. Looking at the houses that are in the floodplain in the older portion of Merritt BC, I would say probably the average house price there is between $350,000 to $500,000. And so if you're buying out 30 homeowners, that's a $15 million price tag. If you're buying out 50 homeowners, that's a $25 million price tag. And a small municipality like Merritt BC just doesn't have that level of funding to buy out homeowners. So the municipality has now approached the federal government, and they've submitted a comprehensive plan for post-disaster recovery which includes all sorts of new infrastructure, this bridge, new levees, new diking, and if that is fully funded, then the new dikes will have to be built on land which is currently occupied by houses. So in that way, they can actually get funding to buy out homes. But again, standing here in the middle of, end of July, in the midst of a drought, you would never think that this river has the capacity to cause the damage that it does. But during the winter storms, there is it's just amazing the power of water.